So in the lab today, we're going to look at creating chemical compounds. When we come over to Canvas, which I was not on the front page when we started this, but we come over to Canvas, you can see here our lab is creating chemical compounds. The sheet again is going to look a little different than the previous sheets, which is fine. Again, this was created to do on a computer program, and they've moved and transitioned to an online program. So some of the instructions are going to be a little different, but I'll go over that with you. So we're going to look at the ratio of elements in a chemical compound. So we know that when elements combine in a chemical compound, they combine in whole number ratios. So you have, like, for example, one atom of silver to one atom of chloride, or one atom of silver, or I'm sorry, two atoms of silver to one atom of sulfide. And they do this in such a way that when they combine in these whole number amounts, um, the charges cancel, so the overall charge is neutral. So when we look at this, you can read through this. It says all matter is made of elements, and elements combine to form chemical compounds. Chemical compounds are made of two or more elements combined in a set ratio. A ratio compares two numbers. It tells you the amount of one item compared to the amount of another item. The formula for a chemical compound shows the ratio of elements in the compound. So for example, you're familiar with table salt. It's a chemical compound made from sodium and chlorine. The formula is sodium chloride, and that shows the ratio here is 1 to 1. And what we're doing here is we're using those understood subscripts. So you're also familiar with a compound called rust, which is made from iron and oxygen. The chemical formula for rust is Fe2O3. The small number to the right of each symbol, shown here with the 2 with iron and 3 with oxygen, are called subscripts. This tells us that iron contains iron oxide contains 2 atoms of iron to 3 atoms of oxygen, and so that tells us the ratio of iron atoms to oxygen atoms in rust is 2 to 3. So what we're going to look at in this lab is we are going to look at test tubes. We're going to look at the formula from the screen once we do a reaction. We are going to look at the color before, the color after, and then we're going to look at the ratio of those two atoms and see that. So for example, we are going to first look at silver, okay? Now, here's the deal. This has it set up so that you line up the silver and the lead and all of these, and then you react them. That doesn't work. That worked really great on the when this was in a different program. With the online version, it doesn't quite work like that. So here's how we're going to do it. Again, we're in this inorganic. We're going to double click here. Okay, and we're going to say, all right, we're going to click on the bottom of silver and add it to the test tube. So we're going to click this bottle of silver here. And then we're going to come down here and it says, you can observe the color changes that occur in the test tube and see the changes in chemical formulas on display, right? And so we can see here that it's now over here, this is colorless, okay? Now we're not gonna drag the silver test tube to the metal test tube stand, it's already there. But here's the next part. We're gonna click on the bottle labeled sodium chloride on the lab bench. So we're gonna come here and click on sodium chloride, and it's going to, there we go. It's going to add it here. Now, when we do this, right, it's going to show that the solution changes from colorless to white. So in the test tube here, right, we had silver plus, and we have, when we added the sodium chloride, we now have AgCl. It was colorless before. The color after is that it's white. Right? And the ratio here is 1 to 1 because the subscripts are 1 to 1. Okay? And that's what we're going to do. So what we're going to do then is get rid of that test tube, right? And come here and say, now it says drag the second test tube. But we don't really have a second test tube. We didn't set all that up. So we need to create that test tube. So we're going to come here. We're going to click on test tube. And we're going to come here and click on the lead. It's Pb2+. Okay, and it says, and click on the bottle labeled NaCl. So we're going to click on this NaCl bottle again, and we'll observe that reaction. Now we're going to do the same thing with iron, okay? But instead, you're going to add Na2S, okay? Then you're going to, for copper 2+, add Na2S. And then you're going to do another reaction with lead, and you're going to add Na2S. So you're going to do those and look at those ratios. And then from your observations of the last three solutions, what color would you predict the sodium sulfide and what is added to an Ag+ solution? So you're going to make a prediction. Then you're going to test and see that prediction. And so you can read through here. It talks a little bit about tarnish and what silver sulfides tarnish. Then you're going to answer these questions. Now, again, you need to handwrite everything. Once you do that, you can scan it in and upload to I'll have a link here, but you can also upload in the assignments tab as well.